Well, thank you for being so patient while we're experiencing technical difficulties, but I think we're back in the saddle, as it were. So, hopefully, everyone is able to see my screen. It's up and ready.
Got it.
Feeling lucky, the guest wins. Welcome to our green room for this month. What an appropriate topic, because now is typically the time where our staff is getting so tired. We are hitting the end of the season, and the complaint that we heard in November is no longer novel. And it tends to be something that we really struggle to empathize with. So I think it's a good lead in and follow up to February's Green Room, which was about mastering the art of empathy. So this will be a good companion to that. And if you missed that one, we do encourage you to go back to our recordings, because I think it will be an excellent setup in remembering the 6 steps of empathy, understanding how empathic you are, and how that really plays into providing excellent guest service recovery. I'm Erica Cayley, the president of Guest Service Solutions. After being in this industry for a very long time, I think there are very few complaints and issues that I haven't heard, as well as Yolanda Martinez, our performance solutions coach. She has had a very long history in the hospitality industry as well, specifically on the sales side of things. I think she has definitely had her fair share of problems and issues, and I think we both agree that when it all comes down to it, it's having a few tools available to you, so when it comes up in the moment, you know how to recover with grace and how to recover with ease. Problems are inevitable. It's how you handle them. So I wanted us all to start with taking a look at a picture together. So if you're muted right now, unmute yourself. We have a scene here in a front desk environment. So tell us, what do you see going on in this situation? What are some of the things you see?
They're checking in.
Yeah, you got 2 people checking in at the front desk, and it looks like kind of a hotel setting, maybe an office setting.
Hotel/office setting, okay.
Yeah, professional looking agent at the front desk, and a couple of people hanging out in the background.
Okay. So
I see travelers, sorry Erica, I see travelers that look young and happy and refreshed, which is not always the way that our guests arrive after getting up at 4 in the morning on the East Coast and sleeping with kids, and they're sometimes exhausted and hungry and ready to sit on their couch in their residence.
Okay, good.
I'm going to look at the flip side here. I think the way they're both like resting on the counter a little bit, have their hands on the counter, maybe they are kind of worn out.
Maybe.
So we see a lot of different things that could be happening here, and a lot of clues that if we're aware and if we're in tune with different possibilities, we could use those as ways that we can generate empathy or be prepared for a potential situation that might occur, so that this front desk staff member that we see here could get ahead of a situation. I do see 2 people here that are young. They do look refreshed. They don't have a whole lot of luggage. What I see, though, as well, is they both have their hands on the desk, and when I see that sometimes, that's a sign to me that people are looking for attention. And when people are looking for attention, the expectation of that front desk staff member is to lean in and pay a little bit more attention to what's going on. What I also see on the left side of this picture are 2 ladies that have kind of awkward body language. And I'm wondering if this isn't maybe an awkward conversation that's going on. One has a bit of kind of a closed body language while the other one's trying to lean in and have the conversation. So we might see one thing on the surface, but we as leaders do have to spend some time training our staff to look a little bit deeper, or expect a potential possibility, because the perception that that guest ends up having is the reality that we have to work with. And sometimes a situation just like this becomes this comment on TripAdvisor or this comment in a comment card. And everyone's going, I don't understand. How was that? And so then we have disagreements and we have frustration and we have hurt feelings because we didn't give them the tools they needed to perhaps get ahead of the situation. So last month, we refreshed you on the idea of top 10 tips for managing you. And you are already in the middle of the series of fix videos that are giving you some really good nuggets for how you can do some of these things. I think number 9 just came out, or was it number 10 yesterday, I think?
I'm not sure. I can't remember at the moment, but
I think it was 10.
I think it was 10.
So the one that I really want to focus on with all of us today is number 9, which is perception is reality. We have to try it on and get a vibe for where that guest could be coming from, or anticipate why that guest might be coming from that place. So when we do have a guest that is 2 guests that are standing here, are they looking for more attention? Are they well rested? Are they perhaps seeking a little bit more attention? Is their luggage missing somewhere that we don't know about? Are there other travelers with this group that we don't know about? And why are these 2 the ones that had been appointed to come here? So when a guest complaint comes out of this, we're feeling far more prepared because we have a couple of different things. So today we're going to give you 2 tools. One is a cushion. And this is a tool that you are going to be able to use to show empathy and to also check for understanding of perceptions that you might be picking up on. And the second one is going to be separating the practical and emotional aspects of a complaint. Because when you're able to do that, you have a higher likelihood of being able to get ahead of a problem or a situation and come up with the right guest service recovery. 92% of consumer conversations on TripAdvisor or in any sort of an online review environment are about people. So when it comes to that customer experience, it might look beautiful, but it really comes down to the people. And oftentimes we don't have an opportunity to show our ability to be of service unless a problem or a situation occurs. So having a cushion and having the ability to separate practical and emotional aspects of complaints definitely increases the likelihood that we'll also see better user reviews. Empathy is a skill that we're all learning as we go, as we learned last month. And I think it helps us to think a little bit more about what the right answer is to this. We always hear the customer's always right. So I'm going to ask you, is the customer always right? What do you think?
Customer always thinks they're right.
Customer, I wouldn't say with a blanket the customer is always right, but the customer always wants to be heard. And I think that, for me, is always a better starting point, is making sure they feel acknowledged.
Yes.
And that their customer is always important.
And
Well, in their minds, like you guys say, you say perception is reality. In their minds, they're right. That's their experience, and we're not wearing their shoes.
True.
So we do have the obligation to understand their perspective and to empathize with that, as well as, we had a perfect situation like that happen where a woman ordered a shuttle service to the airport via a third party that was going to take her to the airport. A third party was going to take her, but we arranged the shuttle. And then when part of her party was at a medical office, and they had sort of a last-minute flu situation come up the day they were going to depart. And so part of the family went to the doctor's office, and they missed the original shuttle that everybody else went on, and then called our office to get to the airport, which is 45 minutes from here. It's 22 miles, and it takes about 40 minutes. And they called us, and their flight was in about an hour and 15 minutes, or maybe it was even in like less than that. But I was really worried they were going to miss their flight. And they called us to see if we could get them to the airport. And we do run an airport shuttle on occasion, with advance notice and reservations and payment and all of that. But we kind of dropped everything, and our general manager shut down his computer, ran to get a Suburban, picked them up at the doctor's office, and got them to the airport on time, and it was heroic. And we did charge them for that, and I told her in advance. But the mother-in-law called us back after that, saying that she felt it was really unfair and that we overcharged them and this and that. And their perspective is completely valid, but it's not really, in my opinion, it's not the reality of the situation. I feel like we really jumped through fiery hoops to help them in a bad situation, and they were ill prepared to get to the airport on time, and we helped them make their flight. So, is the guest always right? I would say no. But like Robin said, we do need to validate them and to understand where they're coming from and to kind of stand on the same side of the aisle as them. So we're kind of partnering in a joint solution instead of, antagonizing the situation.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So that word fair seems to be the crux of the whole thing. That when we can figure out what they think is fair and what we think is fair, then we find the win in the situation. So, no, they're not always right. Let's hear a situation, though, and let's think about what we would do, what we could do. We have an angry guest here that's going to tell us all about how unhappy she might be.
The angry guest needs to stop awkwardly smiling. Let's pretend I'm mad, shall we?
So,
okay.
Good afternoon, Mrs. Martinez. How are you today?
Not really very good at the moment. Okay. I really feel like you guys sort of lied to me. When I made my reservation, I told you my husband would be in meetings all week and that I needed this to be relaxing. I'm traveling with 3 kids. They're all under the age of 6. You told me there would be a kids facility that I could bring them to. When I get here, I find out it's only 5 and older. What am I supposed to do with the 2 little guys? My room, you said there would be plenty of space, 2 beds plus a pull-out. If I pull the pull-out out, there's no room for them to play. There's no bathtub. What am I supposed to do with them? I thought I would take them to the pool. I'm all the way at the other end of the building. Do you know how hard it is for me to lug all my stuff to the elevator at the other side of the building? I mean, this is just becoming more work for me than a vacation.
Stop. Here's the situation, and I'm resisting the urge to respond, and it hurts me in my heart and in my stomach. I'm like, oh, there's so many things I want to say. So, what do you think, everybody? What's going on in this situation? She starts with, I think you guys lied to me. And then she details all of the things that were not represented properly, that were not given to her. So, what do you think? Is this guest right?
I think they have some valid points that need to be addressed.
Yeah, I think, we'd like to think that this wouldn't happen with a guest of ours, but we do hear it happen when guests, more often than not, book through a third party, and there's some things that didn't get fully explained.
Mm-hmm.
The view isn't what I expected. I was told this is ski in, ski out. It's not, it can't be into the master bedroom. Whatever it is that they're upset about. And so, like you said, are they right? Well, their experience is what their experience is. And it's not meeting their expectations. So then I think you want to hear them and then discuss, well, what can we do to make this right?
Especially when you're called moving mountains. I think this is one where it's a metal test in many ways, where we get to show this guest that, yeah, I get that this happened to you. I'm disappointed that this happened to you. And here's how we're going to make it right. She needs to feel heard first. This guest is probably not entirely right, but she's going to get to win if we can give her the emotional security that she's looking for. We see all kinds of behaviors all the time from our guests, and a lot of them make absolutely no sense to us. But knowing that only 10% of that iceberg, so to speak, the visible things that we see, such as maybe their ethnicity, their dress, the nonverbals, the environment that they're in, right? Stranger in a strange land, that's only 10% of it. And the other 90% are what's driving a lot of that behavior often, which we don't get to see. And if we truly are empathic, we're creating that flexibility in the conversation so we can help find her win regardless of where it's coming from. So listening is obviously where a lot of this starts. We want to listen carefully to what we think we're hearing and what truly was said. So generous listening or active listening is called listening with a deep appreciation to the reality, feeling, and commitment of another, contributing to that other person the experience of being understood. So when we have staff that say things like, "I sincerely apologize for this inconvenience," it shuts it down right away, and it doesn't give any appreciation to anybody's reality at all. Yet this is where our staff feels sort of frozen, like, I don't know what else to say right now, so I'm just going to say, "I apologize for the inconvenience." That's what I was trained to say. So getting out of that mindset involves us giving them some tools that they can use so that they can listen to learn and then digest aloud the information that they're receiving from this guest. So she understands that that she feels like she was lied to. I can tell her how hard it is to have to walk all the way down the hall, and that I get that, and here's how I'm going to show you that I get that. So I'm going to give you this cushion here in a second. So the cushion, and if you recall, maybe in the past when we talk about guest service recovery, there are 4 steps to an appropriate guest service recovery. The first one is that reaction. That guest needs to see a congruent reaction. They need to feel a congruent reaction. We need to say the words that are going to show her that I get it, not that I apologize for the inconvenience. So the furrowed brow, what are other things that we could do to show concern, for example, or empathy? What are body language things that we could show?
Tilt the head.
What's another one?
Yeah, and if it's in person, you get closer to the person and you look them in the eye, and your body language is open, not closed. And
the head hanging, right? I'm feeling awful that this has occurred in some way, or oh no. So I'm kind of like squinchy face looking in. So those nonverbals, even though they seem so obvious, they're not so obvious to our staff sometimes, and so that does have to be a taught thing, that congruency. Now the cushion are the words that we actually use so that we can be accurate with the emotion. So last month when we were talking about the 6 steps of empathy, we were talking about emotion contagion. So how do I absorb somebody else's emotion or show that I have absorbed that emotion? And then how do I clarify to make sure that I got empathic accuracy? So this is a great tool that helps to do that. So these are examples of ways that could come out. So it's frustrating when you have to struggle all the way down a hallway juggling stuff for 3 kids. I can sense that you're feeling deceived because what you got wasn't even close to what you were envisioning. The fact that the kids facility doesn't accommodate kids, all of the kids in your party, I would imagine is making you feel trying to think of the word, is making you
trapped.
feel frustrated, is making you feel
like
deceived,
you don't have an option.
What's that, Yolanda?
Like you don't have an option.
Like you don't have an option. So these cushions, I'm using all of these different constructs here, but this cushion is a way that I can show her that I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take this into some other real examples. my best friend is getting married, so give me a cushion. So this is a positive one. This is not a negative one. We'll start easy. But if we're going to use a cushion, my best friend is getting married, it's one thing to go, oh, congratulations. But a cushion is going to have a little bit more meat there. So give me an example, or try to use the cushion in a way to show that you understand how this person must be feeling. My best friend's getting married.
That's super exciting. You must be excited.
Okay, so what I heard you do, and that was Joan, correct?
Yeah.
So, Joan, I hear you calling out the emotion that you're seeing or the emotion that you're feeling. And there are a bunch of different kinds of feelings that we have to be okay with trying to pinpoint. And that's where the empathic accuracy comes in. If I get it right, if I use this cushion in the right way, I'm able to show that I'm picking up on the feeling that you're putting down. And that's where guests get that feeling of being heard. Let's use another one here. Let's go to, well, finally, I only walked around the building 4 times. So if a guest says this to you, what could be a potential cushion that we might be able to use?
You must be exhausted. Can I help you find your residence?
See, it's not hard, right? This is, for some people, it's very easy, but would you guess, Joan, that a lot of people find this really difficult?
Yes.
And why do you think?
Can.
But why?
I think an initial reaction oftentimes is to be defensive or confrontational in a way.
Yeah.
Because that's the attitude that they may be reflecting, and it's easier to sort of reflect their attitude as opposed to absorb those negative feelings and reflect the positive.
Mm-hmm. Or we just have our go-to phrases. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm sorry. And that's all you say. You just get used to saying it.
So
you could try to make a positive spin on it and say it frequently takes people 5 or 6 times. So.
Great point.
Consider yourself lucky.
You're one of the smart ones.
we call it a pre-ski warm-up.
I love it. It's good. Now you're all limber. Good to go.
Yeah.
So that initial cushion is going to be the thing that creates that opening for a conversation to occur that doesn't have defensiveness. It's not a loaded conversation. It helps to make that cushion, that place where both of us can kind of safely land to have the genuine conversation that we want to have. It's impossible to get any work done when the Wi-Fi sucks so badly. You've never heard this before.
Sound like a true guest.
What's a cushion? What is this guest feeling?
I know that's so frustrating.
This guest might also be feeling urgency. This guest might also be feeling nervousness, especially if they have a meeting that they're trying to join. So we have to do some clarifying. The cushion's going to help us to clarify a little bit as well. But we have to get a cushion that is not just canned. It's more, maybe a little bit more urgent for them. So give me another possible cushion.
You're feeling very frustrated because I know how important this being able to work while you're here is.
Great. Now, other examples of cushions would be, I have been in that situation myself, and there's nothing more frustrating than the Wi-Fi not cooperating when you need it. Or we just had a situation like this occur a week ago, so I'm feeling comfortable that we're going to be able to get you exactly what you need in 2 minutes here. So it can also be loaded with a potential solution as long as you have sort of enrollment in the fact that you are a problem solver and that you heard what they're going to say, or sorry, so that you heard what they had to say. Now the other side, so we got the cushion. The cushion is great. The cushion gives me a good start to problem solving, a good start to trying their perception on, because their perception is our reality. Mm-hmm. Now, the second side of it is separating the practical and the emotional root causes of a problem. And for many of you, you remember the communication style assessments, and we know that Robin's a red communicator, and that Joan's a yellow communicator, and Yolanda's a yellow communicator. So some of these have some relevance, but we'll keep going back to these in future events as well. It's valuable, though, when we're thinking of a problem and how we are going to separate what their possible emotional and practical root causes of the issue could be. So the emotional side is how they're feeling, which our cushion helps to uncover, but then the practical is the thing that has to be fixed. Mm-hmm. So here's an example. Don't even bother making a restaurant recommendation to me. I tried that once and was sent to a place that was so bad, I said, never again. I'm using Yelp from now on. Well, excuse me. So emotional. What are some of the emotional issues that this guest probably has? This guest emotionally feels
disappointed,
let down.
They
don't trust.
Yeah.
Yes. Mistrust. They've been burned, let down. Great. So that emotional piece has to be fixed, but then the practical aspect of the complaint is what?
Need a restaurant.
Yeah.
And the last one wasn't good, and yeah, at the end of the day, they won a recommendation, but they were disappointed. So now they don't trust it.
Perfect. So the practical fix is we want to give them a recommendation. The emotional fix is we have to become trustworthy, create trustworthiness. It breaks my heart to know that you got a recommendation that you didn't feel good about. I have been in that situation myself many, many times. So what we try to do here is make sure that we never recommend a restaurant that we have not experienced ourselves. And all of our restaurants that we recommend are ones that we have relationships with. So I would love it if you would trust us, and I'll give you 2 different options, and I will even place a call personally to those restaurants to let them know to expect you, whichever one you choose. Let them know to expect you, and that way we can increase the likelihood that you're going to have the best possible experience you can, because I want you to walk away from Steamboat feeling like we have some of the best restaurants in any ski resort, because we truly do. So I'm babbling, but I'm trying to give you a lot here in a little without knowing this guest.
One other thing you could add to that is, and tell me which restaurant it was and what specifically was your concern, because I'd like to take that feedback back to that restaurant and get a better understanding why. Maybe we can do something to make this right. So I can go to that.
That helps this guest, I would think, to feel vindicated a little bit as well. Mm-hmm. Like your opinion does matter.
That's a good point.
So here's another one. I tried to call for a shuttle. I stood right there for 20 minutes and no bus. What kind of system is this? So emotionally, how's this guest feeling? Emotionally.
Tired.
Abandoned. Yes. That's right on. And to me, that's the biggest thing. The other one is that, I've played your game, right? You told me to stand right here. You told me to wait for 10 minutes or less. I gave you all of this extra time. I was a nice guy. And now here I am. I'm freezing. So not only am I abandoned, but I'm also what?
A little confused, to
Well,
feel a
that's
little
just
dumb.
frustration if you're talking about the person thinks they're following our rules, but our rules don't apply in that particular instance.
Yeah.
That's just frustration.
So
It's
there,
also, I think guests feel disrespected when, when we tell them we're going to be somewhere and we don't follow through on our side. They feel like, well, don't I matter? Like they feel like we think they're unimportant, but
so they feel cheated, they feel unvalued, they feel lied to. So it's funny how one tiny little situation like that can turn into this big commentary on how they feel about an entire destination, right? So,
well, the counselor in me, Erica, you just don't know where somebody's been and what their story is, and they already have a story about themselves and their life, and this is just more ammunition. It's like, well, clearly I am not important because look what's happening to me now.
wow. That's heavy, isn't it?
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry, but that's so true. That is so true. That's where some of these things go sometimes, and not that we have to be counselors, but certainly that becomes the story that we have to work with. And so practically, we have to get this guest to where they need to go as quickly as possible. And sometimes that means that we have to find a win for them that involves maybe using our shuttle or doing what Gardner did. It doesn't mean that it's always going to be the right solution or the best solution, but at least we have a solution. So the other thing with our recovery model that we've always said would be a valuable thing to do is to provide options. So to the extent that your practical solutions have you offer a few different choices, I think is very wise. So let's do take two here. Now maybe we should just go back to our women, huh?
Sure.
Yeah, let's go back to our woman who felt lied to. Her husband's in a meeting. She has 3 kids under 6. The kids facility only takes kids that are 5 and under. There's no bathtub. Do you know how hard it is? Well, let's hear some cushions. What cushions would you use for her?
I have kids too. Oh my gosh, I know how hard this is for you.
Good. 3 more. How is she feeling?
Like she's working on vacation.
Exasperated.
Yeah. Like she's on vacation, like she's not on vacation, like this is just another job, and it's even a harder job because I don't have all my tools here.
Right. It's not relaxing.
This is not relaxing. This is not a vacation.
She feels very alone.
I just kind of run to solutions. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let's grab 2 staffers and run up there and help her grab her bag off her shoulder, and one person push the stroller, and one person entertain one of the little ones. You know what I mean?
Like, you're exactly right. We know what to do, right? I know what I would do. And you're exactly right. I would send a pit crew up there to do all of those different things. But remember this though from the last time. I'm receptive enough, I'm empathic enough that I can understand how this person is feeling. I need to check and make sure that I'm accurate. And that's why this cushion is so helpful for me. And then showing that concern for others and taking that perspective is how the cushion can also enable that guest to feel heard. So it's truly about that guest not just feeling like, okay, fine, they're going to fix it, but she wants to be emotionally validated. That, yeah, this sounds like anything but a vacation for you. And that's heartbreaking. And I can tell you already that our team, the last thing that we would want for you and your kids is to have a trip. We want you to have a vacation. And it starts now, Mrs. Martinez. So, with your permission, if I may, can I please have some staff to come up and help at least escort you to the swimming pool? I'm going to do a little bit of research and see if I might be able to make some concessions over at the kids' facility for you. I think with one extra, surely we'll be able to make an exception for that 6-year-old. So far as making sure that you have a vacation for the rest of the trip, I think we can make some excellent recommendations for you and make it effortless for all of you. So if it's okay with you, are you perhaps interested in having some time at the pool right now with the kids? We can bring some floaties over. And I also know that we have Cindy, who's our pool attendant. She'd be more than happy to get a cocktail for you.
Yes.
Yes.
That sounds great. That really would be
one
helpful.
One a new guest for life there, Erica.
It's all part of the plan. So, and to me, I guess I just always feel like we have so many resources available to us. And now is the time that I get to really show what my brand is all about, and I get to show what it means to truly be of service. It's not about the stuff that we do and the action that we go into. It's about making sure that she feels heard and validated, and that her reality is now my reality when it's all said and done. So hopefully these two tools of separating the practical and emotional aspects of complaints and using a cushion are two things that if some of us are innately good at them, and if you're not, it's something that you will now stop yourself and make time to do. But additionally, coaching your team on being able to take that step back and say, all right, instead of apologizing for the inconvenience, what could we say differently? What cushion could we perhaps use in this situation? And what were the emotional and practical aspects of her complaint? Maybe we can find a win in there that's going to be the way that we create some loyalty with this guest.
So that's a really good observation, because when the situation happens, it typically can be it could be a little stressful. We don't all love to have an upset guest on the phone or in front of us. And I really think that there's value in training people that this is kind of what happens, and that what works in resolving this is, because if you don't give people guidance, they're going to default to, well, I really apologize for the inconvenience. And it's like, well, as sincerely as you might want to say that, they need to know that that's the last thing you should say, because it doesn't contain the elements of the cushion. And it doesn't. So what I like about this is just that it gives you an identifiable tool. Mm-hmm. It sort of goes along the lines of we have a thing in our code where we say don't take it personally, and that because it's not about us.
Right. No.
So you have the angry guests in front of you, and you could be like, don't yell at me. And it's like, well, you're not actually solving the problem. You've made it about you instead of about them.
Yes.
Right.
That's so true. So hopefully these two skills are things that that you can use, that you can start with quickly, and at least be more mindful of how you're doing it when you are doing it. I do think that one of the best ways that we find ourselves is to lose ourselves in the service of others, and there's no better way to do that than to be empathic and to try on somebody else's reality just for a short period of time. I think it's a great skill, life skill, for our staff to be able to learn that they'll take with them for the rest of their lives. So next month, it will be about motivating the seasoned staff on April 26th. We hope that you attend, because I think this is a good one, especially going into mud season. You're going to have some of the veterans are the ones that stay around while we perhaps have laid off some other ones, or people have gone on vacation, and people get tired and they like to slip into old habits and routines. So how do we keep it spicy for the veterans? is really what I'm hoping to accomplish for that day. Before we wrap up, does anyone have anything else to share or add or say today?
No, this is good stuff, Erica. I really appreciate it. And Yolanda, thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm going to be on the beach on April the 26th.
Me too.
Oh, well, then you'll just have to watch this
Me
as a
too.
recording.
Yeah.
Or take us to the beach with you. You know, that's a
Yeah.
possibility now.
Set yourself up a hot spot.
Yeah.
I will say this is just a really good reminder. Like I said, I have a master's in counseling, so this is sort of how I talk to people anyway. But I feel like I take for granted that that's an easy and natural thing for me, but it's not for everybody. So I really
Right.
appreciate you bringing this up, and it's something I think we can talk about kind of globally with everyone in the company that's interfacing with guests, but also, especially the people that are on the hot seat when the phone's ringing. So I really appreciate you bringing this up.
Well, they're very lucky to have you there, Joan. I'm sure that you help them quite often to see through a different set of eyes.
They're all pretty good already. We tend to hire people that have their heart on their sleeve, and I think some of that you just can't train. It's just who the people are. So we're really lucky.
That is
That's
lucky.
great.
Well, good. So thank you, everybody, for taking time to join us today. We really do appreciate that, and we'll see you next month, if not sooner.
Thanks,
All right, sounds
lady.
good. If I do dial in, I'll make sure that I get a camera set up so that you can
Palm
get the
tree
full
over her.
experience. Yeah.
Perfect.
That
He'll
would
show
be
him swinging in
wonderful.
the hammock, as he's in the green room with us. Perfect.
Sipping a drink with an umbrella and fruit in it.
I'll have a surfboard propped up in the background. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Rub it in, Robin. Rub it in.
You asked me to. I mean,
No, that's okay. I'll take it. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day.
Take
Right.
care.
Thank you.